So when we have life challenges, we do struggle, and we sometimes we just want a nice day where we're not stressed, we're not under pressure to do anything, and be kind to yourself. If you have days like that, well, feel it. Have a day like that. You don't have to be hard on yourself. Organization is not perfection.
We're here with Diane Talbot, who is here to tell us all about decluttering and organizing. She's a lifestyle manager and professional organizer who helps individuals and couples release emotional weight through practical, compassionate support. And she says that organizing is more about just tidying cupboards or cleaning surfaces. It's about helping you feel calmer and more in control of your day-to-day life. And her goal is to make your life feel simpler one day at a time. So we're here to talk about it, how it can be, it seems so simple on the surface, right? I just need to tidy up, clear the clutter, but there can be a lot attached to that. So Diane is here to help us decode and understand. So Diane, how are you today?
Very well, Robert. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yes, decluttering. We all have that problem. We all have the problem with keeping things tidy, keeping things in the place. Life gets so hectic, gets so busy. So one day at a time, we try to put our things away. And sometimes that doesn't always happen. And it grows into a monster. And the best thing I have found, I was experiencing some very challenging times. And this is how I came about to do some organisation for myself. I found it calmed me and made me feel in control again. So that's how it all started for me.
And now you're passing along the secrets to others. So you say that sometimes it can creep up on us, right? We don't have that much time. We have obligations, responsibilities. Maybe if you're living with the mess that keeps on building slowly over time, maybe you don't really even realize it, right? It's like when you go over to someone's house, you notice many things, but in your own environment, if you're around it so much, you notice less and less. And so, like, what's the psychology behind this? Like, you mentioned a little bit about how there's like the feeling of being in control, but how does the clutter build up? How does the mess happen?
Just very gradually. People come home from work, the children come home from school, everything gets put away, just put down in one place, probably on a chair, on the table, and the day after that doesn't get put away, and then it starts accumulating. Life gets so busy, and before you know it, it's a joint thing from the family, or it could be seniors, that on their own, they're struggling to get through life. Mental health people are struggling again. So there's all walks of life that this affects. So we haven't to feel bad. It's not our fault. It just kind of creeps up on us if we are not in control.
And I think about that idea a little bit of like being kind to yourself, that sometimes I feel like if I mess up or have bad behavior in a way, such as not cleaning up as often or making a mess, sometimes it just gets worse, right? There's that downward spiral. And sometimes I mess with myself on the inside thinking, well, if I feel bad enough about my situation, maybe then I'll be motivated to do something about it. But I've realized over time that that's not really a good solution, is it? Like punishing yourself so that way you'll maybe finally step up and stand up. But I imagine that many of these thoughts swirl around in someone's head, right? Like, how can I finally just get the focus, get the energy, and get my house, get my life in order?
Just gradually, one little area at a time. Let's just say, like today, my desk was a mess. So, I know I have to, start putting things away, just very gradually until it's done. And then it's a lovely, calming, proud moment, and I feel it feels nice again. One of my memories of a family that I was helping out. The mother was so busy with a new baby and if her husband's business, and the little girl was 6 years old, and she used to trash the house. Everything was all over the place. Your bedroom was always trashed. And when I was there helping, that's the first thing I would do is do her bedroom, put the toys away. And when she came home from school, her face was absolutely, it was, felt like she got a new bedroom. So a couple of weeks later, she came home I came to work that morning and she'd made a bed and the slippers were at the bottom of the bed with the pajamas. And it really touched me to think that, that was just a little lesson that she'd wanted to have a nice bedroom. But, so I suppose I was giving her a little bit of inspiration. So that was lovely.
Yeah, a positive outcome. And it seems like you've mentioned so far a little bit of how helpful it can be to think about the future, right? You see what's in front of you and you think to yourself, well, hey, if I just cleared off this tiny little space, right? I just cleaned up my desk, cleaned off my counter, just that small win, that little bit, imagine how good I'll feel. So it's like using your imagination in order to feel good and to pursue that positivity. And so you've mentioned about like this client of yours. I'm curious about like your own journey. Did you struggle with clutter? Have you always been a neat and tidy person? What's your journey been like?
I have like 2 or 3 days and I think, gosh, everything has to be put back in a place again. We all tend to leave things hanging around, whether it's our shoes or, some laptop or books and anything. It's very hard to put everything away all the time. So the best thing I find is have a place for those kind of things. So you come home, okay, you put them down, but within 10 minutes, put them in the place so they're not building up again. And yes, and ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. And I think that little bit of support, having someone in to step in, it makes life much easier. You're not on your own.
I imagine so. So you're saying that if someone doesn't know where to start, you say, figure out a place for things, right? Where do your shoes go? Where do your keys go? Where does your jacket go? And that way it's not random. And that way you don't have to think, you just go through the motions and then, hey, it's already partly solved. You're already putting things away. And so you mentioned this idea about asking for help. And I can only imagine how maybe someone might be ashamed a little bit, right? It's like you dread going to the dentist or the doctor or going to your accountant, right? It's like you have this problem, but then you don't want to feel embarrassed about your problem. But hey, sometimes getting help from that person is maybe the only realistic way that problem will get fixed. So when someone comes to you for their decluttering, organizing help, is there any shame or has anyone maybe hesitated before asking for help?
Yes, definitely so. They always feel inferior, that they should be doing it themselves. I think we all struggle asking for help at times in our lives, but this, when I go in there, I hope I put the calm across. I come across to that person to help them and give them that clarity that, just take it easy. We'll do this together. I don't understand what's what they want to keep, what's decluttered to me is somebody else's, special things that they don't want to get rid of. So, you have to decide, put them in a box somewhere and put the box away, until the time comes when you do want to, maybe a month and go back to that box again and see if you can get rid of something that way.
Yeah.
It's very hard. We always accumulate our things. We have, it is very hard to throw things away.
Of course. Some of those items are sentimental or worried.
Yes.
Yeah, worried you might need them later. I think no one's immune. Everyone has that junk drawer, or there's all of the power adapters, and it's from a cell phone from 20 years ago, but you'll feel really dumb if you throw that out and you need it later. And so we just have these things that we know we aren't using, but we're too afraid to throw out. And it seems like you're mentioning like baby steps, right? If you're not saying do anything drastic, just, hey, put it in a box, put the box away, and then you can maybe go and sift through the box later. And so you help people from all walks of life, all kinds of situations. Is there anything that's been like surprising to you? Like, are there certain like areas of the house that are overlooked, or just maybe something that is counterintuitive when it comes to decluttering?
I think the wardrobes, bedrooms and wardrobes are the worst. Between that one and the kitchen, because we always collect the, all the different things and the machinery that we use in the kitchen, the appliances, and then we don't use them. So they take such a lot of room. Wardrobes are another thing. Shoes, clothes that we had for work and we don't use anymore. And drawers, it just goes one drawer at a time. That's all you need to practice, to try. You just one again. I think if you have somebody to help you, it's much easier. It's a great help. You're not doing this alone.
Yes, of course.
And also, I just find it's a lovely space afterwards. You're proud of something that you've done. You've made it nice.
Yeah, and then you have pride of ownership, and then maybe you don't even realize how much your space was an area that you dreaded, that you did not want to be around. But now when you come home from work and see the house, like now you'll be excited about all the extra room you have and the sunlight, and it's just like a more pleasant place to be. And I'm really curious. I'm curious about that because like I've heard a little bit about how like the decluttering, it starts off slowly and then it can become like a downward spiral, right? Where it's like just a way to like kind of try to keep control, but then you're losing control because you're getting more and more boxed in. Like, have you thought about that, or have you just explored that at all? Like the bad emotions that come from when it's cluttering versus the goodness that comes out when it's cleared away?
Of course, yes. When we have life challenges, we do struggle, and we sometimes we just want a nice day where we're not stressed, we're not under pressure to do anything, and be kind to yourself. If you have days like that, well, feel it. Have a day like that. You don't have to be hard on yourself. Organization is not perfection. It's just one day at a time. And
Really?
yes, yeah.
And I know you mentioned that in your book chapter. So to get everyone caught up, you are a co-author with Mr. Pat Mesiti in the book, The Freedom Blueprint, which we can find at freedomblueprint.com. And your chapter is called Declutter Your Mind, Release Emotional Weight and Reclaim Peace. And I know that you're about like taking things slow and steady. And I believe that there's also a little bit where you talk about like organizing for appearance's sake versus organizing for usefulness. And that's something else I think about sometimes, where like some people, their house is so clean, it looks like a model home, right? It looks like a showroom floor. It's not even lived in. And it's like, how can you even exist that way? So there's like the 100% perfection versus it's clean, but it's also useful to me. So is that something that ever comes up, is like the organizing and being clean for appearance's sake versus your own well-being?
Of course, yes. And there's always seemed to be, in couples, there's always be one of my clients, her husband is much tidier than what she is. She's more relaxed, she doesn't bother, where her husband wants everything in place. Now that is a lot of pressure on the wife, to make sure that that's what she's got to keep up with, and the children and the house. So this is where my services tend to help her to relax a little bit more, that she can go to work, look after the children, and know that she can come home and all the other little jobs are organised for her.
Oh, yeah. And just because you had a plan and got on the same page, because sometimes the personalities are different, right? It's like the odd couple. You might have the one partner is messy and one partner is a clean freak, and then one person can get overworked and always fighting. And it's like there's more important things to fight about than the shoes left out. And so someone could definitely use your services. And what are those services like? Because I've heard that like some organizers, they can be in person or on Zoom. So if someone says, hey, I need Diane's help, like what's your style?
Just basically just to go around to their home, or we can do a Zoom call even, and show me what the situation is, why you're stressed, what you need, and yes, we'll take it from there. Again, one day at a time, and one room at a time. Again, it just depends what they require.
Very nice. Well, we've jumped around all sorts of areas of decluttering, right? We've talked about like the stories and the mental aspect and the practical aspect, but I'm sure there's a lot about it that I don't know. So in this conversation that you and I are having about getting our home organized, do you think there might be a missing question that I should be asking you? I just don't know to ask you.
Probably, what is the outcome for my clients? How does it make them feel? You know, and that is just, that's a wow. To see someone come home and that is like a weight lifted from the shoulders. To see, the children even, that, like another one of my clients, his toys were again all over the bedroom with cuddly toys everywhere. And so instead of throwing them all in a toy box, I made a little story up where I put them on the pillows, or the big round snake at the bottom of the bed. His mouth was open and with a small koala bear inside. And Superman was also there, and holding the pillow up. And the joy on his face when he came home, wanted to know, why does the cleaner not do this? And Mummy was saying to him that was a different role altogether. Diane was trying to make things tidy in your room and make a story at the same time. So that was another incident that touched me. I think the children, realise that is, there is some organisation there. And then the mother has more time with them as well. She's a lot more relaxed. I've also done meal prep, so that's lovely to come home and the meal's done. So there's so many different aspects of having a home advisor.
Yeah, of course. Having a little bit of planning ahead and structure, and it doesn't have to be, like we said, so drastic. But if you did a little bit of future thinking, then you can free up some time just because you had a little bit of a better routine, and that's wonderful to think about. And those are some great lessons you shared. That, like, number one, what I'm getting from you is that sometimes it's so easy to neglect ourselves, right? I don't care about me or my space or my house, but hey, there's many things that we do for our kids. And if we say, well, I can't get motivated to declutter my house, well, why not declutter for your kids and declutter your kids' room?
Yeah.
And then this idea of coming up with the story, like, stories always make things more fun, right? You say, oh, there's the Superman figurine on the bed there. And even if you think about something as boring as, say, like going to the grocery store, right? Well, I have to pick up eggs and bread. But if you tell yourself a story about it, now it's more fun and it's interesting. And it's like, if you've ever been on a cruise ship, you come into your room and they somehow know how to like fold the bath towel into like a monkey and hang it up. It's like, cleaning can be fun. It brings
a smile to your face, doesn't it?
Yeah, you can just make it a lot more interesting if you just like use your imagination a little bit. And so you piqued my curiosity in these last few minutes here with the meal prepping, because getting organized doesn't just mean the clutter; it can mean in other ways. And so in these last few minutes, the meal prepping, I've heard about this, where like you kind of like cook everything a week or a month ahead of time and make different soups. But what is meal prepping for you?
Meal prepping, again, is organisation. It frees me up time. I don't have to think. I don't have to rush to the shops. It's all there. I know what's for dinner. I know what's for breakfast. And sometimes I know what's for lunch, for dinners. But it just helps free up that busy time, 6 o'clock till 8 o'clock each evening. That's usually people's crazy time. And just to the meal prep, it just makes life much more easier. And makes you much more relaxed, and you can have fun times then instead of being stressed out.
And that seems to be what it's all about, right? It's that you make the decisions ahead of time. That way you're less stressed, and that way you have extra brain space and extra time for what's important. And I'd imagine that the meal prep probably makes you healthier, right? Because if you're choosing your meals at the last minute, or eating whatever's in the fridge, or eating the box of cookies, or getting fast food because you're so out of time, versus you just put the time in ahead of time, it's a different strategy.
Yes, and that's what I do. As simple foods, something simple that's nutritional, and yes, it's all the family can sit down to the table and eat together. That's another big thing. That's and they can have a conversation, what's happened during the day, and again, it just makes the family life a lot more relaxed and have fun. Don't make everything so serious. Life's too short.
Yes, it is. And so enjoy what you have, and have gratitude, and don't be just running around from thing to thing. Get things out of the way ahead of time. That way you can have those slow, nice moments that you never know, might never come again. Nothing is guaranteed. You might get hit by a truck tomorrow, or sometimes if you think 10, 15 years ago, what your space looked like, the friends that are gone, or the relatives that have died, and how this warm you'd feel just to have 5 minutes back there in the past. Well, now you think about your future self. What if you came back to the present time, and what how much would you miss the things that you have right now, and the kids maybe still being young, and yourself still being young, and so on. So you say to think these things through, take some of these small actions, because the end result, you'll feel so much better by having your lifestyle better managed and your home better organized. And if someone says, Diane has me so excited about possibilities, but I know that if I try this myself, I might just have the same results I've been getting. So I could use a discussion, and I could chat with her just to figure out how to actually approach this. So if someone says, I want to contact Diane, how can they do that?
By email, and or my Instagram, Diane _, which I'll send to you later, Robert.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have a link under this to get to that Instagram. And then if you want to shoot her an email, that's talbotdiane81@gmail.com. And explain, Diane, your situation, and say, I liked a lot about what you said. I'm looking into the meal prep, getting the home organized, less fighting with the spouse and the kids. So that way we can declutter, and we can tidy up, and we can just be less overwhelmed. So we've been chatting with Miss Diane Talbot, lifestyle manager and professional organizer, and she just helps you release this emotional weight that happens with all the stuff, both mental and physical, that's piled up into your home and your life. She blends practical help with emotional awareness, so you feel lighter, not just in your space, but in yourself. She provides this steady, emotionally aware household support, and she supports busy couples and families under pressure. So send that email, that's talbotdiane81, and check out her amazing book, which she's co-authored with Pat Mesiti. That's freedomblueprintbook.com. But before I let you go, Miss Diane, it's time for the scary part of the podcast, where I try to stump you. I try to put you on the spot by asking about a fun or interesting quote or lesson that has served you. So what comes to mind as far as a fun or interesting quote or lesson?
A lesson, as I think I've already told you that in my chat, with a little girl realizing that she wanted to help her mummy and help me by making the bed, starting to make a bed, tidy up her room a little bit. And that really was a lesson to me, that was something that was a lesson to her, and it helped her a lot. And by the way, my name is 1N. In my email address, it's 1N, Diane.
Okay. talbotdiane81@gmail.com. And what a wonderful message, right? Passing it along to the next generation, and showing them and telling them that cleaning up is not something that has to be boring. It's not something that you have to dread. It's something that you can look forward to, enjoy, keep up with, make yourself and others feel better just by, cleaning up after yourself. What a concept. And so let's
teamwork.
Yeah, teamwork, and everyone can win, and everyone can be happy. Yes.
Yes.
Well, very wonderful. So if you are someone who needs this help releasing the emotional weight through organizing, then contact Diane Talbot. That's TALBOTDIANE81 at gmail.com. That's Talbot Diane with one N 81 at gmail.com. You'll be glad you did. You'll have a fun conversation and you'll make some progress on this problem that we all have to some extent, is the clutter that piles up. So get Diane's help to declutter. And thanks so much, Diane, for showing up, stopping by, and helping us out today.
Oh, great. Thank you for having me, Robert.